there, the city has come basically to a halt.
Correct.
And that beautiful place in Dubai is sitting there, and they've given out of money and can't go any further. Officially canceled their concrete contract as of this past week.
Yeah, they say the interior of that building may never be finished, the world's tallest building.
Yes. So now we have seen two things take place that this man predicted and gave to me over the phone the middle of June. He said, number one, crude oil is going from $147 a barrel to $50 a barrel. Secondly, he said we are going to keep the price there until we have brought, and I'll use again the words bankrupt, brought the oil-producing countries of the world to bankruptcy. And they right now, it seems that the second part of this man's prediction, we can honestly say, is well underway to the point that it is happening, not only going to happen, but is actually happening just like he said.
Indeed it is, and it'll continue to do so. Back in just a minute with Pastor Lindsey Williams as we continue to look ahead by looking backwards after this. Okay, back with Pastor Lindsey Williams. Lindsay, as bad as things are, and they're going to get a lot worse, there is no doubt in your mind, and I'm sure in the minds of most of our listeners, that there is that small cartel, that hidden hand, as it were, centered in the City of London banking family industry, which is completely in control and making more money than has. This is the biggest theft in human history, is the way I look at it. It's a reconfiguration. It is a wipeout, if not a diminution, a drastic diminution of what's left of the American middle class, and it's a compelling kind of homogenization of what was once a vibrant and diverse culture here. And that homogenization is turning this country into nothing less than a pop culture box of Kleenex. It's all throwaway and disposable stuff. It's not good.
What do these people have to gain by this? Let me point this out, if I may. I'm sure you've dealt with some of this on your program. This gentleman said to me, he said, America will see a financial collapse that will be so great that it will take years to come out of it. Now, we are seeing exactly that happen.
We're talking about years, too. You're right. Yeah.
Now, of course, the Arab world is on the basis of bankruptcy, right on the verge. Saudi Arabia, one that anyone would recognize. If it goes below $80 a barrel, they cannot maintain their economy for very long. This past, I think it was about a week ago, the Federal Reserve announced that it was going to begin buying T-bills from the U.S. Treasury. And immediately I said, the reason why is because the oil-producing countries of the world are no longer buying the T-bills, which pay the interest on the national debt.
Right.
It's very obvious where all this is going. Now, with this in mind, I'd like to touch on a subject tonight that I have not dealt with on your program at all, and that is tax structure.
Okay.
Now, think with me for just a moment or two. Every oil-producing country in the world within the past 4 months has lost 75% of their income. Not only that, but the price of gasoline has gone down from $4 to $5 a gallon to $1.50 to $2 a gallon at the gas pump. That means that in the United States of America, the federal government, the states, and others who tax the gasoline at the gas pump have lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 75% of their tax base on that gasoline.
Yeah. Correct. Right.
Now, that in mind, and usually it takes the state or the federal government approximately 3 months to figure out how much they're losing or gaining in tax revenue. Take 3 months from now when they figure out just how much they have lost. Now, the federal government, how much have they lost on tax revenue? 3/4 of that which they were going to build highways with and bridges. The states, what are they losing? And some cities and county and others that tax the gasoline, they have lost drastically. The state of Alaska, oh my goodness, is the state of Alaska taking a loss? In my book, Energy Non-Crisis, I have a breakdown of every barrel of oil that goes out of crude oil bay, 42 gallons, and exactly what the tax structure is. I want to take one or two of those. First of all, there's a tax, West Coast price tax, they call it. There is a crude oil pipeline tariff. There is a tankering cost in tax from Valdez to the West Coast. Mm-hmm. There is a wellhead tax. There is a severance tax. There's a windfall profits tax paid to the federal government. There is a tax paid to the state of Alaska. When you break that down, a barrel of oil going from crude oil bay, America's oil field, to the lower 48 to be refined in one of our refineries, it has, now this is staggering. Now, I'm not talking about oil that comes from Saudi Arabia or from Dubai or from Nigeria, someplace like that. Mm-hmm. But from our own oil field in Alaska, there is a 74% tax of the wellhead cost of that oil, crude oil, before it ever gets to the refinery. Now, 75% of that tax is no longer there. It's been lost because of the decrease of the price of crude oil. The federal government is losing billions of dollars of tax structure because of the decrease in the price of gasoline at the gas pump. 75%. What they were making 6 months ago, they're not making now. The states. Now, what is going to happen 3 to 4 months from now? No wonder California's in trouble. No wonder so many of our states are on the verge of bankruptcy.
Well, California's finished. It's almost $50 billion in debt. It's not retrievable. Can't do it. Yes, many others are similar, but a smaller amount.
So I can readily understand when this gentleman said to me that the United States, America, will see a financial collapse so great that it will take years to come out of it, because they had factored in all of the consequences of the price of that barrel of oil going to $50 a barrel or below. He didn't say below, but they've taken it there in order to accomplish their purpose very quickly, almost as if they have accelerated that program. He had taken into account, he and the others of his kind who know everything that's going on, had taken into account the tax structure losses, had taken into account the number of jobs that would be lost as a result of this happening. They had taken into account what was going to happen to the oil-producing countries of the world, and the fact that they couldn't buy our T-bills anymore, which monetizes and pays the interest on the national debt. He also knew that the Federal Reserve would have to turn around and buy our T-bills because other countries could no longer afford to buy them as they've done in the past, and the fact that the American dollar would not be used anymore as a reserve currency of the world. I can understand now, 6 months later, after he told me what they were going to do, exactly why he could make such a statement that America will see a financial collapse that will be so great that it will take years to come out of it.
Years indeed, years indeed. All right, Bay, you're right back with Lindsay in a minute.